Good morning. We are skipping 9.4. 9.4 is talking about simulations. It's not something that we need to focus on, nor will you focus on it next year with Mrs. Nielsen. So we're going to skip it. 9.5 is the fundamental counting principle. This is the easy way to do what we did in 9.3. So these notes and your homework is kind of short, sweet, and to the point. So instead of making a list or tree diagram, you're going to use the fundamental counting principle, and it'll tell you the number of outcomes or the number of possibilities. What it doesn't tell you is what those possibilities are. So in 9.3, it said find the sample space. So instead of saying 12 options only, you would actually have to write out each of the 12 options. The fundamental counting principle does not give you each of the 12 options. It just says there are 12 options. So keep that in mind. But key vocab, the number of possibilities of each event can be multiplied by each other to find the total outcomes in a sample space. So really, we actually only have one example here, but we're going to go back to lesson 9.3, so have your book ready and open to page 736. We're going to go back through our homework that we already did, use the fundamental counting principle, and just check our work. Make sure, we got our sample space correct and that we're using our fundamental counting principle correct. So example 1. Use the fundamental counting principle, find the sample space of 3 flipped coins. Now, you multiply each set of possibilities. So for 3 flipped coins, for the first coin, how many outcomes? Well, 2, right? Heads or tails. For the second coin, how many possible outcomes? 2, heads or tails. And for the third coin, 2 possible outcomes, heads or tails. You multiply each of those possible outcomes to get the total sample space. So 2 times 2 is 4, times 2 is 8. And that's your final answer. Alrighty, I'm just going to give you a super quick example. I think it's your Got It. Got It A on page 758. So it says, find the total number of outcomes when choosing from bike helmets. Okay, bike helmets. And you don't have to go to that page, just kind of listen. And they come in 3 styles. And then it says, 3 colors and 2 styles. So we would have written out the 3 colors and then drawn, a diagram to the 2 styles. Instead, you've got 3 options for this one, 2 options for this one, multiply them together, and you've got 6 total options. And that's it. You're multiplying each set of outcomes by each other. Alrighty, so I'm going to go back to page 736, and that is the first page of your homework from lesson 9.3. We had numbers 1 through 3, page 736, number 1. So it says find the sample space. Instead of making a diagram, we're just going to use the fundamental counting principle. It says a coin is tossed twice. So you've got a coin here, right? This is your first toss. This is your second toss. So for the first toss, you've got 2 options, heads or tails. For the second toss, you've got 2 options, heads or tails. Multiply them together to get 4 total options for your sample space. And if you're looking back at your work, your final answer there should have been heads, heads, tails, tails, heads, tails, tails. So that's 4 options. Alrighty, number 2. It says a pair of brown or black sandals. Okay, so 2 options, brown or black, are available in sizes 7, 8, or 9. So times those 3 size options, you'll get a total of 6. And we did, if you're looking at your homework, we did get a total of 6. Number 3, this is the spinner with 4 equal sections. So Gerardo spins a spinner with 4 equal sections twice. Alrighty, so for the first time, you've got, so this is when you spin it the first time, you've got 4 options. When you spin it the second time, well, it's the same spinner, so you still have 4 options. So our sample space, 4 by 4, you've got to be 16 to drive it, is 16. And if we listed them all out, which we did, we would have 16 options. So the fundamental counting principle is just gives you the sample space. It doesn't give you any more detail, but it's pretty quick, simple. Multiply your options, get your total sample space. Look through, so again, these notes are pretty short. So look through my answer key as you work through your homework. Make sure you are getting the correct answers before you submit it to Google Classroom. And as always, let me know if you have any questions. Let's see, I might have just set the record for the shortest math video. You are welcome.